Everyone, welcome to Tea Time in the Tranquil Tuesdays virtual tea room. I'm Charlene, founder of Tranquil Tuesdays and a featured Asia store artisan. I started Tranquil Tuesdays 10 years ago in Beijing to share China's finest teas and to help people discover China's ancient tea traditions. Today, I'm excited to partner with Asia Store, a long-time home for my tea, on a new video for the series we've been making to help you find some tranquility through tea at home. And in this video, you'll discover the art of tea, from appreciating Asian tea culture and to brewing the perfect cup. Today, I'll be talking to you about Phoenix Honey Orchid Oolong tea. So these are what the tea leaves look like. I'm gonna make some space here. And you'll see the leaves are pretty big and they're twisted. And I would like to just point out that within oolong is one main category of tea. So there's like white tea, green tea, black tea, oolong, and pu'er. But within oolong, there's a whole range of teas. There's lighter, greener teas, and then there's darker roasted teas and everything in between. So this is just one of many types of oolongs out there. And I'm gonna be, frequently people like to use an I Ching teapot to make oolong. That's definitely the most classic and traditional pairing, making an oolong or a pu'er with an I Ching teapot. I am more familiar making this tea with a gaiwan, so I'm going to be using a gaiwan today. So the first thing we're going to do is heat up all our implements. Like I said, this is a nice practice to just get everything ready and sort of like how you would like to heat up your cooking pan before you add the oil and start cooking, or how you would like to serve food, freshly made food, on a heated plate. Okay, so this gaiwan holds about 100 milliliters of water, and I am going to add approximately 1 tablespoon, a generous tablespoon of tea. I do this by sight because I've done it so many times, but I measured it out beforehand so I could try to help you. Okay, so one fun thing I like to do is just smell. Well, you can already smell this like great aroma that's this like roasted citrus sweetness. And that's just because this implement is hot, this gaiwan is hot, and I just shook it a little bit, and that's ready to release the aromas. So the first thing I'm gonna do is a rinse. Like I said, I like to do a rinse because that's a good way to kind of prep your teas. It's like stretching before running. And so the rinse is just to get those tea leaves primed and open. It's just real quick, it's just in and out. I mean, our goal, if you see, the dry leaf is twisted. Our goal is to try to open up these leaves as much as possible so they can really release their flavors. And that's where a nice rinse helps out. Okay, so I'm gonna use close to boiling water. We want pretty hot water here. I like around 200 degrees, like basically boiling. Actually, I think for this one, even hotter is fine, like really close to boiling. But the general rule of thumb for oolongs is around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm gonna pour this extra water out, and we're gonna just let it sit for about 45 seconds to a minute. You don't want to oversteep your oolongs either. You don't want it to become astringent. It's sort of like green tea in that way, that there's definitely a window of astringency. I'm gonna let it just sit for a little bit longer. I would like to also point out that the name Phoenix Honey Orchid Oolong, the name is Phoenix Mountain is where it's grown, so that's where the Phoenix part comes in. And the honey and orchid are just flavor notes that the makers think typify this type of oolong. It's not that they added those flavors into the tea, it's that those are the flavors that they think are kind of released in the way that they made this tea. Okay, I'm gonna try to pour it out for our first steeping. Let's see. Okay, the color looks pretty good. You usually want like a nice, warm, kind of peachy brown, which is what's going on here. It smells pretty good. See, the leaves are opening up a little bit. They're not quite fully open yet. I forgot to heat this cup. Well, okay, let's try it. Yeah, that's really nice. It's like the first steeping of this tea is usually kind of this nice roasted, honey, nutty flavor. And usually you get the citrus and more floral notes on subsequent steepings. And I think that is, to me, actually one of the key differences in Asian tea culture versus other tea cultures is the great majority of Asian tea culture is really focused on unscented, unflavored teas. So the focus is on the natural, pure flavor of the tea leaves itself. And because of that, you're able to appreciate multiple steepings over time. Whereas with the scented tea, you can't really steep it multiple times. After that first steeping, there's not much flavor left. But since the flavor is captured in the tea leaf itself, with an unscented tea, you can enjoy multiple steepings and really go on a really fun flavor journey. So I'm gonna do a second steeping so we can just see the difference. And when you're brewing with a guy one, you want to make sure not to get the water too high because it makes the edges very hot, and then that makes it very hot to hold. And like I was saying about unscented teas, as the majority of Asian tea culture, of course there are exceptions, right? I mean, jasmine green tea is a very famous Asian scented tea. That is a green or white tea that's scented with jasmine oils or jasmine essence. I was just kind of comparing the great majority of Asian teas, which are unscented, to teas such as like Earl Grey, which is a black tea that's scented with the flavor of bergamot oil. And so the flavor, the distinctive flavor of Earl Grey is actually bergamot oil, versus with this tea, the actual flavors are coming from the tea leaf. Okay, I'm gonna let it open up just a little bit more so we can see the true difference here. This tea is grown in like I said, Phoenix Mountain in the border of Guangdong. And that is a region that is known for its for growing oolongs, or tea trees that are used to make oolong teas. If you go to that region, you'll see some pictures here. You can see teas that have been there, tea trees that have been there for hundreds of years. So it's a very famous and old tea terroir that is very known for producing very beautiful teas. Yes, so right now, on the second steeping, the flavor is so much more citrus. It's definitely citrus and floral. Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, it's so fascinating how it's the same sort of flavor family, but different flavor notes are accented at different parts of the steeping journey. I mean, when you're making a tea like this, you could do it at least 5 to 7 times, and the flavor will mutate a little bit. Not mutate, that's not the right word. The flavor different parts of it will be accented at different times. And you'll see the leaves are starting to open up quite a bit here compared to the dry leaves, but they still could open up even a little bit more. So yeah, you probably could steep this in this proportion 5 to 7 times, which I will be doing afterwards. So thank you for watching today. This was the last video in our series, and thank you so much for drinking and watching along. If you want to learn more about Chinese tea and stories like I've been sharing, please go to the link below. And while we're all spending more time at home, visit asiastore.org and get to know more about the artisans and browse collections online, including my tea. Be sure to tag Asia Store on social media, #InThisTogether, to show how we're more connected than ever. Thanks again, and I look forward to keeping in touch.